Welcome to the Business of Apparel podcast. This is the place to learn how to start and scale your own apparel brand and fill it with loyal customers for years to come. I'm your host, Rachel Erickson, owner and CEO of Unmarked Street, and I can't wait to share this episode with you. Welcome back to the Business of Apparel podcast, where today I want to kind of let you in on some of the stuff that we are learning real time here at Unmarked Street and the Business of Apparel. I'm not sure about you, but every once in a while, when I get a really good piece of advice, I need to hear it a few times before I understand exactly how it's going to pertain to me and pertain to my business. And so my hope is that this podcast episode might be the one time that you really needed to hear some of this information that is going to be the catalyst to helping you grow and thrive in your business. Now, Mary Coates and I, so Mary is our customer solutions manager here at Unmarked Street and the Business of Apparel. Essentially, she's here to make sure that our community is as happy as possible. We are serving each and every one of you to the absolute best of our ability. And so Mary and I have been going through a bunch of different learnings together. So this has been really, really helpful for me to have a partner in crime on some of this stuff. And recently we joined a new small business community to learn a little bit more about how we can build something really, really special for you as we move forward in the future. You may or may not know, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you probably have heard one of our ads or you've heard me talking about the courses and the programs that we've been offering for the last year and a half now. And one thing about that course was, number one, I really built it around what I know you need, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's what you want. And so when you're talking about what you want from a coach or you want from a program or you want to learn from me, there is a lot that I might realize we need to eventually get to so that you can become like a billion-dollar brand, work like a global brand, become a recognizable brand. But what you want from us is a little bit different. So one thing that we've really been doing here, which I really want to encourage you to also do for your brand, is to start reaching out directly to your ideal customers and figuring out what it is that they want from you, because it's most important that you give them the kind of transformation or the kind of product that they desire. At the end of the day, your customers are everything. If you don't have customers inside your brand or you don't have a community following your brand on social, you're going to have a really hard time thriving as a business. So this is something that we're learning a lot right now. And it all comes down to a word that I just want to let sink in for just a minute. The word simple. Everything comes down to being simple. And sometimes you have to take a little extra time to go through a big simplification process in your business so that things can become a lot clearer to your customer. Now, this is something that we've actually been talking about for a really long time. I've been talking a lot about your niche, your target customer, being able to speak to that one person when you're doing your marketing, when you're doing your sales, when you're developing your product. You can make decisions faster. There's so much that's available to you if you really, really niche down to a single target customer that you are basing everything around. Now, I am just going to be the first to admit that even though we teach that, and even though we know that, and even though I've heard that from so many different coaches and listening to podcasts and reading the books and doing all the things, we were not doing a great job of it inside our brand. We felt very strongly that the information that we have that we can share is great for a wide variety of people. So you've probably heard me talk a lot to students recently. Like, fashion design students need to know what it's like out there in the real world when they join the fashion industry. And there is a huge gap in that area. And so we have been really dedicated to figuring out how to get information to students, but we're starting to realize that students may not quite understand what continuing education looks like out in the real world once they start to take on a real job. And so there's a huge education piece that kind of goes into getting students to realize that when we say continued education, or come learn from us, or come network from us, or come join this community, they automatically think, oh, I need to go back and get another degree. They're offering me something really, really expensive. They're asking me to go back and do basically full-time studenting again. And so while we work on chipping away that kind of exterior with our students, we realize that maybe they are not the easiest customer and the best customer for us to be reaching right now. We've also been talking a lot to industry pros because we know 10 years ago in our careers, when we were looking for raises and promotions, we were having a really hard time finding the right information on how to do that. And so we want to help industry pros to get the information that they need. But we are also now learning after interviewing and talking to a lot of them that they're not really always looking for something. A lot of times they're leaning into their managers, they're leaning into in-house mentors. And so if they're not even looking for something that we could offer, it's really hard for us to continue to try to talk to that person in hopes that they're just going to come out of the woodwork and all of a sudden be looking for something. Like we're trying to create something that's not there. So the more and more that we whittle down to it, we really want to start talking to you, the startup brand owner who is really looking for the information of what's happening inside the big corporate brands of our industry. And again, we've been talking to you a lot too. We've built entire programs around being able to get you this information. Our workshop, Secrets Behind Billion-Dollar Apparel Brands, is meant to teach startups what brands like Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, Specialized, Abercrombie & Fitch, what are those brands doing and how do they get to be multi-million, billion-dollar brands over the decades that they've been in business? So it's always been there, but we've spread ourselves kind of thin over the last year or so, trying to figure out how to reach as many people as possible. And I will say it is super, super normal if you're in that boat too. I've talked to so many other small business owners and so many other entrepreneurs who always feel like they have a little bit extra to give over in this segment, or they have a little bit extra to give if they develop a product for someone else. And I want you to know that we are learning in a very, very deep and acute way right now, very rapidly, that that's a huge mistake. And again, I've heard this advice over and over again, and it took us to join this small community and hear it in a different way and have it be taught a slightly different way for me to go, oh, light bulb, I finally get it. And I finally feel like we can apply this to our brand. So let's talk a little bit about simplification, right? In this simplification, it's not just about talking to truly one person. Like we really need to narrow down the one person that we're going to be talking to every single day. And one of the key reasons that we are learning about this right now and how we're learning about this right now is in the idea that, okay, let's take my Instagram feed, for example. If you were to go scroll through my Instagram feed, and you saw me talking every single week to students, to industry pros, and to startup brands, and you're one of those three, when you come onto my Instagram feed and maybe you're starting to scroll, you're starting to watch some of the reels or look at some of the posts, you don't really know who I serve. Do I serve you as the student? Do I serve someone else as an industry pro? Or do I serve startup brands? And the fact that you don't know if I'm the perfect match for you makes you walk away. Right? It makes you go, I'm confused. I don't really know who this person is supposed to be talking to. I don't really know what her programs are built for. And so you walk away. And maybe you don't follow us, or maybe you don't engage with us, or maybe you don't choose to jump on our newsletter so that you can learn more because it's confusing. And so I want you to realize that for your brand too. If you're putting out products for too many different kinds of people, your customers are going to be confused and they're going to not feel like you're the right match for them when they're looking for the product that they're looking for. So that's number one. Number two, though, is in the idea of the product itself. Now, we've had multiple different programs that we've been trying to get out to our customers. And to be honest, a lot of it has been a test. We've been trying to understand what would be most helpful for our clients, what would be most helpful for our community. And so we've been offering online tools and spreadsheets and diagrams and downloadable things that can help you build tech packs or help you do technical sketching. We've built how to measure manuals. We've built done for you programs so that our high ticket clients have ways to actually bring us in to do the work. We have the course. We have our office hours membership. And what we're starting to realize is that just like what I was saying before with like confusing everybody with not really knowing who we're talking to, we're also confusing everybody with having too many products in our line. And again, this is something I preach on all the time about the apparel industry. SKU rationalization and the paradox of choice go hand in hand. And it confuses our customer. We put too many products out, too many products that aren't helping our bottom line. And then we confuse our customer and they walk away and they choose not to buy something from us. And so we're experiencing that now in our business as well, where we are going to start moving forward with just one product. Now, we got actually really, really lucky in the month of March. And we ended up finding out that we were going to fill our books with done for you clients. So we are officially on a wait list with our done for you clients. If you were interested in bringing us into your brand and actually having us do your product development or your business strategy work for you, please still come talk to us. We are still booking calls, but I want you to know that as of right now, we are going on a wait list because our team's hours are full. When we signed those 2 additional clients, we were able to kind of say, okay, we're done talking about that to the community. We are going to sell this amazing, amazing membership, and we are going to talk to our customers to understand what they want in this membership. It is going to be for a year at a time. It will be an annual subscription that you can continue on whenever you buy at whatever price it is. You will lock in that price forever. We're never going to raise it for you. So there is just a lot of great stuff that we're trying to put into this one program that we are going to push forward and sell from here on out. And I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Russell Brunson, but Russell Brunson is like the ClickFunnels guy. He's the funnel hacking guy. He's the guy who's teaching a lot of small business owners about funnels. Are you sick of being stuck on the sidelines of the apparel industry and you just want to be put in the game? Then join our 100% free workshop, Secrets Behind Billion-Dollar Apparel Brands, and learn the strategies, tactics, and secrets used by the most successful companies in the world. We'll cover everything from setting your brand standards to big brand line planning and executive level processes. In this workshop, you're going to learn how to name your target customer, rationalize your line, calculate product margins, roll up your revenue, and see potential profits while figuring out how to build a unique calendar for your brand. You're going to learn that and so much more. Are you ready to take your apparel business to the next level? Sign up today and use code PODCAST for a 10% discount on the full Business of Apparel online course or any of our mini courses after the workshop. Visit www.thebusinessofapparel.com/secrets to register. Don't miss out. And if you don't know what a funnel is, it's basically, if you think about the shape of a funnel, it's thinking about having a really, really wide community and network at the top of your funnel where you're trying to reach people by nurturing them and giving them as much information and as much help as you possibly can at a low cost or for free. And then as you move them down the funnel, they start to become closer and closer to you by joining your programs or by becoming a client. And so you get higher touch with them as they move down your funnel. And so Russell Brunson has said so many different times, and I've read his books and I've been to some of his seminars and been listening to his podcast. And he's said so many different times, you need to stick with one offer for one person until you get to $1 million in your business. And then you can add a second offer to that same one person. And we have not been listening to that. So it didn't click for me until we were listening to that same advice in this new community that we've decided to join. And so I just want to get that information out to you too, because we are rapidly learning it right now in our own business. And if you're like me, you maybe think that you are simplifying everything that you're doing. And so for a couple of years now, simplifying was a hard word for me because coming from a corporate background, a background where I was managing and mentoring and actually held like 3 or 4 different roles at any given time and was running myself ragged, the idea of simplification was, let's just not do that anymore, right? Like let's take on maybe just 2 roles instead of 4 roles. And let's maybe not manage and mentor a dozen people. Let's maybe just manage and mentor 2 or 3 people. And so simplification for me looked like not burnout, not constant stress. And so when I first started my company and we were starting to think about what items to put out and what to work on and what to offer and who to talk to, it felt simpler than where I'd been. So I felt like I was simplifying everything. And then as I started to whittle things down more and hear even more and more that I was still doing too much work and I was still not simplifying enough, I would take little pieces or little chunks out, but I wouldn't get to the point where it was truly one offer for one person. And now I feel like we are much, much clearer about that. So as you move forward with me here at the Business of Apparel podcast, if you are following along with our newsletter, you'll probably start to notice that we are just going to be focusing on this new membership that we are building, not just for you, but with you. Right now, we have several founding members who signed up in the month of March who are helping us figure out exactly what the program needs to look like. What's the most helpful thing to them? I think that the first week should be all about target customer and defining your niche, because that's what we did in our first week of this new small business community, and it changed the game for us. So we want to pass that forward, right? We want to give you that same experience in our community that's geared just toward apparel and fashion startup owners. Now, what's really unique about what we're trying to offer is that it's industry specific. And so instead of going and joining a community or joining a group that's just meant for all small business owners, which is what we tend to have to do because there aren't a lot of great resources for us in the fashion industry, what we want to do is give you something that's industry specific. So we're not just talking about small business in general. We're not just teaching you how to set up your LLC or hire a team or set up your standard operating procedures or find your target customer. We are also teaching you exactly how to speak to apparel manufacturers, how to negotiate apparel minimum order quantities. We are going to be teaching you how to do apparel SKU rationalization and apparel line planning. So if you are the owner of an apparel business, this is going to be geared very, very much toward you and not just a wide array of small business owners, which is something that we feel like we've been missing. Like, this is a group that we would be interested in joining if we were still thinking about starting our own apparel line too. So there's some really special stuff that's going to be happening here over the next couple of months. We are really, really excited to be bringing in these founding members, having them help us dictate exactly what is important and what isn't important. Maybe they're going to end up saying to me, target customer isn't the most important thing. I really need you to start me figuring out social media, or I really need you to start me in figuring out how to go to my state website and set up my LLC. And so we're going to change the program and we're going to zhuzh it around what exactly they say they need, what you end up saying you need if you join the community. We're going to be listening a lot better. We're going to be creating something with you and around you so that it's the dream program that you have been hoping you would find. And so by building something like that, we feel like we're going to be able to serve so many more people, help so many more people. And that is really what our mission is. Like, we really want to get this information out because we know how important it is. And we also know that it's missing from the wide array of the internet. Like, when you're out searching, how do I grow my apparel brand? There are a couple of programs out there, but they focus very dominantly on just sales and marketing. And there's so much more to building your brand than just sales and marketing. So while we are going to talk about sales and marketing in our program, and that's something that we're working on building out, we are also going to teach you about all of the different things that those huge brands are doing every single year, every single month, every single day, so that they grew and are now thriving above and beyond anybody's wildest dreams. That's what we want for you too. So that's the information that we want to give you, but we want to do it in a way that makes the most sense for you. So again, if you've been trying to figure out how to reach more people, we did an interview during this process, trying to understand what it is that people want in their apparel brands. And one of our interviewees said, I want to create a product that everyone on this planet loves. It crosses cultures, it crosses countries. Everybody wants to buy it. And immediately we ended up giving her just some real quick advice on that call that that's not possible. You don't want to build your brand that way. You don't want to build your brand thinking, I want to make something that everybody loves. You want to solve a problem for one key person, and then that will help you become famous for that one problem-solving product that you put out into the world. That one person who is perfect for that product is going to share that information with all their friends. People who aspire to be like that person out in the world are going to come shop at your brand. And as you grow and become more and more famous for this one thing that you are going to be the best at, you are going to find that there will then be room to grow. There will be room to expand, but we're going to keep you focused on that one person and that one community that you're choosing to serve. So we're doing the hard work right now. We're super excited to be bringing this to you. If the messaging starts to change a little bit, we want you to know why. So we will be starting to speak directly to startup brand owners. A lot of the information that we're going to be sharing with startup brand owners is still very, very relevant to a wider group of people. And that's how that works, right? Like even if I'm sharing this and I'm saying, hey, startup brand owner, this is what I can help you with today. Students and industry pros and people who are interested in the fashion industry and drop shipping companies and managers from corporate apparel, all of them can still glean information from that. It doesn't mean we're going to like shove them away or say they can't be part of our community. It just means that we're going to be very, very clear so that when that startup brand owner does find us, it makes it very clear to them that we're the right place for them to be. So if you have any thoughts on this idea, I would love to hear them. If you're watching us here on YouTube, please put comments below. We love to engage with our community here on YouTube. And if you are listening on your favorite podcasting platform, we would love for you to leave us a review anytime. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Go simplify the crap out of your business while we do the same for ours. We'd love to hear from you. And I will see you next week. Thanks so much. Thank you so much for listening to the Business of Apparel podcast. I would so appreciate hearing your thoughts on the show. And if you know someone who could benefit from it, please share it with them. My biggest desire is to help other apparel professionals understand the nuances of our industry so we can all work toward making better product for a better world. If you would like to connect further, I'd love to invite you to send me a message through my website, thebusinessofapparel.com, where I do weekly trainings through my YouTube video channel, a weekly newsletter, blog articles, and so many more resources to help you start and scale a profitable apparel brand. This podcast is produced by Box 7 Media, who I cannot speak highly enough of. If you're looking to start your own podcast, you can reach out to Jeremy at Box 7 Media on LinkedIn anytime.